If you click this video, there's a good chance you're not looking for motivation, you're looking for relief. January can feel quiet in a way that's uncomfortable. The celebrations are over, the noise fades, and suddenly you're alone with your thoughts. Maybe you expected clarity, maybe you expected energy, maybe you expected a fresh start. But instead, you feel lost. And before we talk about change or goals or growth, I want you to hear this clearly. Feeling lost doesn't mean you're failing, it means you're human. It means you're paying attention, it means something inside you is asking for honesty. So let's not rush this moment. You don't need to fix anything right now. You don't need to decide your future tonight. You're allowed to just be here. Let's begin. So let's start with why January feels emotionally heavy. January carries a strange emotional weight. On the surface, it's supposed to represent hope, a blank slate, a new chapter. But emotionally, it often feels like exposure. The distractions of the previous year disappear. The pace slows and unresolved feelings rise to the surface. Questions you avoided all year start whispering, am I where I thought I'd be? Did I waste time? Why do I feel behind? January doesn't create these thoughts, it reveals them. And that's uncomfortable because clarity doesn't arrive gently, it arrives honestly. This is why January can feel lonely, heavy, or confusing. You're not broken, you're just processing. And what is the myth of the perfect new year? We've been sold a story. That the new year should feel exciting, that you should wake up motivated, that suddenly everything makes sense. But real life doesn't work on a calendar. You don't reset because the date changed. You reset when your nervous system feels safe enough to slow down. So if January feels quiet instead of exciting, that's not wrong, that's realism. Growth doesn't begin with fireworks, it begins with awareness, and awareness is often uncomfortable. And always remember, you are not behind. One of the heaviest feelings in January is comparison. You scroll, you see people planning, achieving, transforming, and you wonder, what's wrong with me? But what you're seeing isn't reality, it's performance. Most people are just as unsure as you are, they're just louder about it. Your timeline doesn't need to match anyone else's. Life is not a race, it's a rhythm, and sometimes your rhythm slows down because something inside you needs care. That doesn't mean you're behind, it means you're just listening. You don't need clarity, you need stability. When people feel lost, they chase answers, big plans, big goals, big changes. But clarity doesn't come from pressure, it comes from stability. Before you ask, what do I want to do with my life, ask, am I rested? Am I nourished? Am I safe emotionally? Right now, your job isn't transformation, your job is grounding simple things. Simple things matter more than you think. Eating consistently, sleeping without guilt, reducing noise. These aren't small things, they're the foundations. And now let's talk about a slow January reset. Let's redefine what a reset means. Not a dramatic reinvention, not pressure, not perfection. A reset can be quiet. Instead of planning your entire year, just observe your life. Notice what drains, what calms you, what feels heavy, what feels safe. Write without judgment. January isn't asking you to decide your future, it's asking you to understand your present. And understanding comes before change. And when you feel lost, do less. When you're lost, instinct might be to do more. More productivity, more goals, more effort. But doing more often increases the noise. Instead, choose one anchor. One small, repeatable thing. A walk, a cup of tea in silence, journaling one page, stretching for 5 minutes. Not to improve yourself, but to remind yourself that you exist. Consistency doesn't always build progress, sometimes it also builds comfort. And comfort is powerful when you feel lost. And trust the quiet season. Not every season is loud. Some seasons are internal. Seeds don't grow above ground immediately, they grow quietly, unseen. January can be like that. A season where nothing looks impressive, but everything is preparing. Rest is not laziness. Slowness is not failure. Uncertainty is not weakness. Sometimes clarity arrives only after patience. And if no one has told you this yet, let me be the one to say it. You're allowed to feel lost. You're allowed to take your time. You're allowed to not know. Your worth is not measured by productivity. Your value doesn't disappear because you're unsure. You don't need to catch up. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to keep going gently. So, one day you look back at this January and realize it wasn't wasted, it was necessary. It was the pause before alignment, the quiet before clarity. So if all you do today is breathe, drink some water, and stay, that's enough. You're not behind, you're becoming. Take your time. January doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to be honest. Thanks so much for your time. I'll see you on the next one.